Hello YouTube, this is my full review of the Roccat Sense Pro. Let me just get this out of the way first. This is my favorite cloth pad that I've ever used, by far. This is, in my opinion, better to play on than the Artisan Raiden. However, I do believe it is objectively lower quality. What the fuck does that mean? It means I don't like the stitched edge, it means I don't like how thin it is, and I don't like the sizing, and I also kind of don't like the base. It's not that bad. And I also don't like the packaging. But the fucking surface is so goddamn insane to play on. This is my best performing cloth pad out of all of the ones I've ever fucking tried. My tracking's really good with this pad, but my target switching is fucking otherworldly. The aim trainer clip that I'll be showing for this review is a GM score on the RA Flick target switching benchmark Pat Circle Switch in AimLab. And I set that score after 5 minutes of playing with this pad. Yeah, it's pretty fucking insane. My tracking isn't bad with this pad by any stretch of the imagination. This pad's really fucking fast, which allows me to have really good tracking, but it's not quite as fast as my SkyPad, which does allow me to have really, really good target switching. I'm able to stop really precisely with this pad because I have pretty good mouse control because I use insanely fast mouse pads, but it just feels so insanely good to do any type of aim on this pad. And I honestly think this is the most versatile pad that, like, in terms of my preferences, that I own. Because, I mean, sure, like, a fucking Artisan Heian or Razor Strider would probably be better for clicking, objectively speaking, than this. However, for my preferences, I prefer this pad over either of those two, simply because it's faster, and it feels like, because it's faster, it feels like I have more control over the movements themselves, and it feels like I'm able to make more micro adjustments when I'm tracking something, and it doesn't feel so fast that I can't stop on something. Like, I have good stability with this pad, and I think anyone who has experience with a fast pad will have good stability with this thing, but I also feel like their tracking will be really good, because it's just so, it's not so fast, it's not like a fucking air hockey table or something, but it feels like whatever I want to do with this pad, I can. And it feels like anything I want to stop on and anything I want to flick to is just, it does exactly what my fucking brain wants to. It feels like I am directly translating my brain's fucking impulses into my game when using this pad, at least for flicking. With tracking, not quite. I mean, I think I talked about this in my SkyPad review where I said something very similar about tracking with the SkyPad, but imagine that except for target switching and clicking with this pad. This is probably my favorite pad to use in aim trainers, like, for anything that isn't tracking. And it's just because it feels so fucking good in game. Like, I can't stop fucking hyping up the surface because it's so good. It's so smooth. It's so nice. Actually, in terms of smoothness, I think it's a little bit less smooth than my Raiden, but that doesn't mean it's rough by any stretch of the fucking imagination. It's a pretty goddamn smooth mousepad, and the surface does feel really, really nice on the skin. So you don't need to be using a sleeve when using this pad. I mean, I personally do, just because the stitched edge kind of irritates my arm, but I have dermatographia, so I mean, anything irritates my fucking skin. But yeah, it's a really insane mouse pad. The objective quality of it, however, is kind of, it's not quite up to par with something like the Lethal Gaming Gear pads, or it's nowhere even fucking close to an Artisan pad, but it's $30. This thing's insanely fucking cheap. I don't know why no one else is talking about this, because this is the best bang for your buck that you can get in terms of speed pads right now, and it's insane. I honestly highly recommend this pad for anyone who, like, prefers speed, and I do think that you really can't go wrong with this pad if you prefer speed. If you're someone who prefers a more controlled experience, I wouldn't recommend this. I'm not sure about, like, what I'd personally recommend in that regard, maybe the Razor Strider, but Roccat does have a more controlled variant. Well, I don't know if it's a variant or if it's a completely different pad just under the same product line, but they did release a control pad recently that I will be testing soon. Stay tuned for that. But yeah, no, this is a fucking completely insane mouse pad, and I honestly think that this is the only cloth pad that I consider ever using right now. Like, it's the only thing that comes close in terms of how much I like it to my SkyPad. So yeah. In terms of objective quality, I would rate this probably like a 7.5 out of 10. It's not an insanely high quality pad. There's nothing revolutionary, but there's nothing it does horribly. There's nothing that is completely, like, abysmal about this pad in any regard. It's very solid in every regard, besides maybe how, like, fucking hard it is. But in terms of how it feels to play on, it's probably like a 9.3 for me, with the SkyPad being like a 9.7. So yeah, here's some footage of me getting the fucking score I was talking about. Thank God. Okay. Here are the fucking actual in-game clips of me using this pad.
The enemies of Talon will be eliminated. One after another. Double. Double.
Down that one.
But yeah, that's my review of the fucking roccat Sense Pro. I mean, as you can fucking notice, right now, I have the SkyPad on my desk. Why is that? Well, it's because my twin brother, who's a 4500 hit scan and flex support player in Overwatch, decided that he really likes the Sense Pro. I mean, both of us love the fucking thing. It's a completely insane mousepad. But yeah, it's currently his main mousepad. So yeah, I think that speaks to the level of quality and the level of fucking consistency that this pad has, because it's fucking insane. Like, nothing else comes close. It's cheap. It has a fucking dreamlike surface, and absolutely everything about it is, at very, very worst, good. There's not a single, like, horrendous thing about the pad. There's no deal breaker. The worst part about it is passable. And I don't think I mentioned this in the early part of the video, but I'm almost fully certain the pad doesn't get affected by humidity, because, I mean, I've had days in the past week where it's been, like, 80% relative humidity, and the pad's been fine. And I also am fully certain the pad is not coated, because one of my subscribers actually emailed Roccat about this, and they stated that the pad is not coated and is actually incredibly durable, which my personal experience can corroborate. So yeah, overall, I'd rate the pad probably like an 8 point... I mean, to play on it, it's probably like an 8.2 or 8.3, and it's genuinely my favorite pad, like my favorite cloth pad to use in-game right now.